Sure.
Can you send me a copy of the audio of John Monday and me on Sunday? Because
Sure.
thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. So we are live on YouTube. And Zulma Gonzalez, this mic is all yours.
A grand rising, family. A thankful Thursday to each and every only one of us. And while we're in the asking business, Lynn, I'd like a copy of that of Dove and John Monday as well. And if possible, direct me to where the video is of you all when you did birthdays. I heard it yesterday. I was listening on Pal Talk, and I was typing, asking questions in Pal Talk. I realized you were off yesterday, so you weren't going to answer the question. So that's my ask for today.
It's going to be on YouTube today. It gets posted
Okay.
on Thursday. Thank
But
you.
I don't know what date that was, so that's what I need to know. But thank you. Um, Let me first say good morning to, in the order that I see people, Sharon and Dub and Mickey and Regis and Carrie and Lori and Lynn and Glorian. Thank you all for being here. Uh, for as long as you're going to be here, appreciate it. Regis is having coffee. I'm going to make that tea. Anyway, let me start this way. From A Course in Miracles. Let us be still an instant and forget all things we have learned, all thoughts we had, and every preconception that we hold of what things mean and what their purpose is. Instead of judging, still from the Course, instead of judging, we need but be still and let all things be healed. Let all things be exactly as they are. What can frighten me when I let all things be exactly as they are? I want to hold that for a moment. All right. All right. All right. Uh, let us begin as we normally do and see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. As always, we're doing A Course in Miracles Meet Science of Mind and other metaphysical teachings. We're reminded from the Egyptian proverb that the kingdom of heaven is within you, and whoever shall know himself shall find it. First as an Egyptian proverb, then as a biblical passage, and then uh, reworded in the Course to remind us that the kingdom of heaven is you. The kingdom of heaven is you. The kingdom of heaven is me. The kingdom of heaven is each and every only one of us. We're reminded to begin each day, each day with time devoted to the preparation of your mind to learn what each idea you will review that day can offer you in freedom and in peace. I don't understand what I just said. Let me say that again. I think I said it too quickly. Begin. My mother used to tease me, girl, you talk so fast, I can't understand you. She said, Nena, ¿qué tú dices? Girl, what are you saying? Begin each day with time devoted to the preparation of your mind to learn what each idea you will review that day can offer you in freedom and in peace. And that's from review 4 of the course. I am on my phone with my tablet in front of me and my computer in front of me. The driver that was preventing me from getting on the computer, on the internet on the computer, is shot. Whatever that means, and I'll have to put the computer in the shop to get that taken care of, and hopefully I'll have it back before I leave for Egypt. I leave the 27th, Wednesday the 27th of each to Egypt, and I'll be back on the 11th. Lynn, put that in your notes. Thank you, Glorian. So I will not be here the day of Thanksgiving, the one where people eat a lot. Every day is a day of Thanksgiving, but today particularly is Thankful Thursday, but every day is a day of Thanksgiving, every day. I know to give thanks for in all things, not necessarily for all things, but in all things to give thanks. And that's how things get better. If ye know these things from the Bible, happy are ye if you do them. If you do them. Before I go into the mind your mind quotes, I'm going back to the course. You will need your learning most in situations that appear to be upsetting, rather than in those that already seem to be calm and quiet. The purpose of your learning is to enable you to bring the quiet with you and to heal distress and turmoil. This is not done by avoiding them and seeking a haven of isolation for yourself. You will yet learn that peace is part of you and requires only that you be there to embrace any situation in which you are. And finally, you will learn that there is no limit to where you are, so that your peace is everywhere as you are. And I don't need to explain why these particular passages have come up. I will say, though, that a woman I know, a dear friend of mine, is in her second year studying to be a licensed practitioner of science of mind, religious science. And she was so disturbed by the results that she learned on Tuesday or Wednesday morning, whenever she learned them, that and she and I were supposed to have a Zoom meeting that evening as her practitioner for this time period. She canceled the appointment, and she said that she's thinking about, quitting the practitioner studies, and she's thinking about quitting, walking away from science of mind, and because she said that hate rules, love doesn't rule, it's, hate rules. And with all else, regardless of all those results, that touched me hard. That hit hard. And I spent the day yesterday at work. Some of you know, most of you know that I'm a caregiver 3 days a week, but I get to take my computer and my doggy with me. And I spent the day reading from the course, from Science of Mind, from Christian D. Larson, from Joel Goldsmith. I spent my day doing that. I needed that. I couldn't get caught up with and hung up on the this and the that. I love what Regis said. Basically, nothing changed. If I had not known the results, nothing changed. I woke up, brushed my teeth, bathed, ate breakfast, fed my doggy, took him out, got my stuff together, went to work, traffic was good. Nothing changed. I don't know how to get that message across to her. I did send her a text. Fortunately, I called, I left a message. Fortunately, her husband is also a practitioner student in his second year practitioner studies, and will do whatever he can. I will stay in touch, and I won't call her name, but if you will, just be with me in remembering that there is nothing, that spirit is in a state of grace forever, and that our reality is only spirit. There is nothing. We are in a state of grace forever, that there is nothing that can separate me from the all, because God is all in all. Nothing can separate me. Nothing. that it's still all God and it's still all good. And it is, let all things be exactly as they are. It is what it is. So I'm in peace. And with that, mind your mind. We should daily train our thought to recognize the spirit in everything we do, say, or think. There is no other way. To try any other way would be to make a complete failure. And that's from Dr. Ernest Holmes. He says also that to learn how to think is to learn how to live. The course reminds us that this is a course in mind training, not just reading a book, not just complaining and criticizing and judging. Oh my God, those are the thoughts that hurt. When I'm complaining and criticizing and judging, I am hurting because what's coming out of me is what's in me. So to the best of my ability, I am thinking edifying thoughts. I am saying edifying things. There are some words that I'm just not using at all, at all. I'm in the moment and grateful for it. An untrained mind can accomplish nothing. All learning involves attention and study at some level. And that's all from the course. And then Christian Larson from his book, Thinking for Results, which I'm going to eventually read. We naturally become master over all life when we can understand and master the process of thinking. He also writes in his book, Mastery of Self, that to control your thoughts, do not try to control those thoughts that you are thinking now, but use the will in producing a new line of thinking. If the will is well trained, this can be done at once. And as the mind becomes active in new fields of consciousness, those thoughts that we do not wish to entertain will disappear of themselves. And that's from the book Mastery of Self by Christian D. Larson. And the course reminds us that my will and God's will are one, is one. My will and God's will is one will. And saying if the will is well trained, well, back to that. If I am guarding my thoughts, if I am studying, if I am paying attention, if I am engaging with God, then yes, the will can be well trained. It can be done at once. We don't have to, it doesn't have to wait a day, a year. The problem is already solved. And these are things I have to remember, that the problem is already solved. So I don't have to wait for, I have to wait until such and such happens before I can be okay. Oh, I'm going to be concerned about such and such. I get it. I get it that life happens. Life happens. Lynn, I am grateful that the young man started to vomit the blood, because had that not happened, then he would not have been taken to the hospital and then they be able to find out what it is that's going on. So many things go undetected. My mom walked into the car and we drove to the hospital and they told me that she had had a heart attack and they didn't know when. So in that regard, we're taught to give thanks in all things. In all things, give thanks. So the fact that they have found it, they're in charge now. God is in all of it. God is in the hands that are working with him. God is in the building where he is. God is on the bed where he's laying. God is in all of it. God is all of it. That's what I'm holding on to. That's what I'm holding on to. If the will is well trained, this can be done at once, and the mind becomes active in new fields of consciousness. Those thoughts that we do not wish to entertain will disappear of themselves. All thinking produces form at some level. I'm passing over some of this today. And I don't even know if I'm going to be able to go to 11 o'clock because But Elizabeth Gilbert says that you need to learn how to select your thoughts just the same way you select your clothes every day. This is a power you can cultivate. If you want to control things in your life so bad, work on the mind. That's the only thing you should be trying to control. Which reminds me of workbook lesson 236, which on a leap year, in a leap year, that becomes Regis's lesson 236, because in a leap year, his birthday lesson becomes my birthday lesson 235. But workbook lesson 236 is I rule my mind, which I alone must rule. I have a kingdom I must rule. This is my mind can only serve. Because my mind can only serve, this mind wandering thing that, the Course says that we're too tolerant of mind wandering, is that we're not remembering. We're not choosing to remember. We are in the sleep of forgetfulness. We're not choosing to remember that we rule our mind, that this is our kingdom. We forget. I forget. I'm going to speak first person as long as I can. Every now and then I'll interchange, but you know how that goes. And another quote by Christian D. Larson. Yes, Dove says, sleepwalking or lucid living. Yes, lucid living. Woo. Sleepwalking or lucid living. I like that. I like that. I like that. Am I paying attention? Am I living in truth? Am I making up stuff? Am I causing myself grief? Sometimes. All of the above. Sometimes all of the above. But I found myself singing yesterday. In fact, the song by Eddie Watkins Jr. I had posted it on the thread of our practitioners, and the words are, I'm not worried about tomorrow. Today I declare freedom from yesterday's mistakes of the past. Today all things are made brand new, and don't it feel good to know all is well and unfolding as it should. I can change my reality by changing my mind. Perfect peace, joy, and happiness is yours and it's mine. I am love, and so are you. And don't it feel good to know all is well and unfolding as it should? I am cloaked in the spirit. I am fed by the divine. I am one with all that is. My soul is free from time. I am blessed, and so are you. And don't it feel good to know all is well? It feels good. All is well. Just to know all is well. I'm free. All is well and unfolding as it should. And yesterday I was walking around. I was walking around at my client's house, and I was going up the steps. I can still see me doing that, and chuckling to myself at that point. I'm going up the steps, and I'm, not singing loud because he was sleeping, and I'm singing "All is well." Oh, and I get, I went upstairs, and I started laughing. I actually started to laugh, and I thought, if somebody's watching me, they're going to think I'm crazy, but that's okay. That's okay too. Um, Fun and funny. Uh, all right, all right. Um, I have another quote from the book Living Without Fear by Ernest Holmes. He writes, abundance cannot produce limitation, nor can freedom give birth to bondage. Perfection cannot create imperfection, nor completion create incompletion. I'm going to go back. Freedom does not give birth to bondage. There are times when I hear myself say, oh, I can't. I can't. One thing, I can't find the medication that they prescribed for me. So, and I haven't had it for the whole 68 years I've been alive. So I'm not even going to worry about that. It's on back order, they say. They prescribed something for me. my behavioral therapist. Well, the doctor that she referred me to, and they don't have it. So, oh well. But I'm not saying I can't find it. I'm saying what it is. I'm not supposed to have it right now because I don't have it right now. It just is what it is. It's wonderful to know that I can always change my mind. I can see peace instead of this. I can think differently. I can, above all else, I can see it differently. I can think differently. I can choose again. I can remember that decisions are continuous. That is what's sustaining me. That really is what's sustaining me. I almost called Lynn this morning and said, I'm tired. I didn't really prepare anything. And I thought, and then I remembered Dove way back in 2007, who talked about, trust. He said trust when he first asked me about um, teaching and learning here. He said trust, and I was scared to death. I would come on with all these words that from the course. I mean, quotes pages and pages long, and I would read them, and then I would say a sentence or two, and I didn't allow myself to be myself because I didn't know who I was then. I didn't really know who I was. I was learning, but I didn't really know who I was. I didn't know what I was. I didn't know. I didn't recognize, the God, my God self. I didn't recognize that I am spirit. I didn't recognize these things. All I knew is that this man asked me to teach, and he must see something in me I don't, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be afraid and do it. I remember that in 2008, he told me to trust. And I thought about that this morning, just before I picked up the phone to call in. So Zulma, you know what? The family is there. Those who are in close proximity may contribute to the conversation. I'm looking for it to be a conversation. If not, then Spirit will just keep on telling me what to say and how to say it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about it because the God who sends me will direct me. I would learn the other day, a passage in the Bible, Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. And it states, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Plural, paths. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And it made me think, that there's no universal theology, and that all paths in the science of mind, we say all paths lead to God. That trust in the Lord, and that's all. It doesn't say, nowhere in the Bible does it say trust in man. Nowhere. Nowhere does it say I'm supposed to trust you. No. Trust, to rely upon spirit totally. Now, spirit manifests, manifests through us as us. I can understand that. But it's not that physical thing that I'm trusting. No. That's a mistake. That's definitely a mistake. Workbook lesson 71 talks about that. 70, 71, one of them. But trust in the Lord. That's what it asks. We're taught love your neighbor. I had a button that said vote as if you love your neighbor. I think that's a great button. I may have that button made and have the name taken off. I may do that. Because I like that. Vote as if you love your neighbor. Live as though you love your neighbor. That's going to be my mantra. One of my mantras. Live as though you love your neighbor, regardless of who it is, regardless of who they were. Because it's really easy to talk about what I say, criticize, complain, and judge. It's really, really easy to do that. That's the way we were taught. That's the way I was taught. this was wrong and that was wrong and worry about this and that's a problem. And, how do I? And yet I remember watching mommy just solve problems. I'd hear her say, this situation is, and then she'd solve it. She would solve it. Until she didn't believe that anymore. And then things started happening that couldn't be solved because she stopped believing in herself. She stopped believing in her God self, stopped believing in the truth of who she is. All right, I was reading. I said, for abundance cannot produce limitation, nor can freedom give birth to bondage. Perfection cannot create imperfection, nor completion create incompletion. That which to us appears incomplete and imperfect is the result of an incomplete and an imperfect understanding of capital R reality. We are but children in the process of an eternal evolution. That is, God always is and is always saying yes. The evolution, the evolving, always evolving, always evolving. And when we are involving ourselves with that constantly evoluting God, we can only move in the direction of peace. We can only move in the direction of love. We can only move in the direction of joy. We can only be what we are. We can recognize that what we are is eternal, changeless, and eternal. We are but children in the process of an eternal evolution. If God is already perfect, free, deathless, and complete, it would be impossible for this capital P perfection to cognize anything less than itself. That is, since God is perfect, free, deathless, and complete, then so are we. Just that simple. Because God, we are created in the image of God. We are created in the likeness of God. So we are what God is, co-creators. We are what God is. My will and the Father's will is one will. I and the Father are one. If God is already perfect, free, deathless, and complete, it would be impossible for this capital P perfection to cognize, cognize anything less than itself. We do not change the nature of capital R reality through prayer. And it would be superstitious to suppose that we do or can. Thank you, Glorian. A universal experience is necessary, yes. But through prayer and meditation, we enter into the nature of capital R reality and partake of this nature. Not that God changes, but that we change our attitude toward God. And that is from Ernest Holmes's book, Living Without Fear. I couldn't stop thinking about this woman I mentioned earlier. And the passages that were showing up for me were based on that. I haven't continued with Minding Your Mind and don't even know if I will. Last week I talked about phantoms and shadows. It was Halloween. We had a good time of it. And there was a passage from Ernest Holmes from Living the Science of Mind, that I didn't read, or I don't believe I read. So I'll read that now. How many phantoms we all carry around with us in our imagination? Exclamation point, not a question. How many phantoms we all carry around with us in our imagination? We're attempting to predict the future. We think we know what tomorrow will bring. We've heard things. We've seen some things. But principle is not bound by precedent. That is, the past does not determine the present. Oh, there she is. I see you. There she was.
I'm figuring out my computer. Something's wrong. Gotta laugh.
Gotta laugh. Glad you're here. I was talking about phantoms and shadows, Gloria. Last week is what was the topic, and I had one of the passages that I didn't read, and it just stayed with me. I was saying though that when we hang out in these phantoms and shadows, the shadows are from the past, and the phantoms are from the future, and they aren't there. They're not real. It's not real. The Course reminds us that if we're thinking about the past or the future, then we're really not thinking at all, because now is it. This is it. This moment is the only moment that's real, and I have the gift of being able to let go of what was, although it's already gone anyway. The Course says, let go of what's already gone. How can you hold on to what's not there? But anyway, we've heard some things, and we've seen some things in the past, and we've heard some things about the future, and they're not there. Now, right now, I choose peace. Right now, I choose love. That's really it. That's really the Course teaches us to teach only love, for that is what we are. Teach only love, for that is what we are. And as Gloria just wrote, not to dwell with shadows. In chapter 13, section 4, paragraph 6, it says the shadowy figures of the past are precisely what we must escape, that they are not real and carry the spots of pain in our mind. And unless we realize that past pain is an illusion, unless we realize that those things that happened before, that we've heard about, read about, been told in the past, unless we realize that all that is an illusion, we're carrying a future of illusions and preventing ourselves from getting the whatever healing is for us in the present. And I paraphrase the last part of that, but that's what it means. And that applies to anything and everything. We get news and we think, oh my God, that's the worst. Somewhere before I said, oh my God, that's the worst. How many times have I said, oh my God, that's the worst? And today I can't even tell you what some of those, oh my Gods, that's the worst even are. It comes to pass 727 times in the Bible. I know I'm repeating myself. I'm talking to me. I'm talking to me. And I need to say things more than once to remember them. But it all comes to pass. Nothing comes to stay. Nothing comes to stay. The Course says that nothing survives its purpose. Nothing comes to stay. If we can see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, it's temporary. And sometimes we get sad with that thought. Gloria, I see your hand. Come on, love.
Hi, Zulma. Hi, everyone. When you were just talking about that, and, it came to me that he does tell us not to dwell with shadows. And it says here in The Appointed Friend, who dwells with shadows is alone indeed, and loneliness is not the will of God. Would you allow one shadow to usurp the throne that God appointed for your friend, if you but realized its emptiness has left yours empty and unoccupied? So I just think it's so important to recognize that these distractions that we place, these idols that we place before the majesty of God, and it's just really there, ready for us to accept through our willingness. Thanks.
Thank you. I love that. The majesty of God. I love the way that sounded. That just rang with me. It went right through me. The majesty of God. It reminds me of that section, grandeur versus grandiosity, which I'm reading in one of the study groups, the one I facilitate in person. Yes, there's still some in-person study groups. um, and I have an opportunity on a Monday afternoons to do that. And I love these ladies. I do. I love these ladies. But anyway, I'm not gonna let my mind go all over the place. I'll do my best not to let my mind go all over the place. But sometimes that's just the best thing for me. Aha. How many phantoms we all carry around with us in our imagination? How often we have such morbid and unhappy thoughts that they actually appear as gigantic and menacing figures about to seize us in a death-like grip. Ooh, gigantic and menacing figures. And how seldom do we face these fears and try to find out exactly what they are and where they come from? That's not a question. And how seldom do we face these fears and try to find out exactly what they are and where they come from? And that's the point. We go into fear and hang out there. Well, of course I'm afraid. Don't you see that? Whatever. Well, of course I'm. See, we we in the spiritual community, we say we are more, since we are more evolved, or we say we are more evolved, we substitute the word concern for the word worry. I'm very concerned. Oh, I'm concerned about. But it's the same doggone thing. It really is the same thing. I mean, it just sounds better. It sounds better. Like having someone took my virginity as opposed to someone raped me. That just sounds better. But let truth be what it is. Let truth be what it is. How seldom do we face these fears and try to find out exactly what they are and where they come from? And of course they're coming from a place of the past. We can't be afraid of something we know nothing about. Or, based on what we're taught, we choose to be afraid of what we know nothing about. Which absolutely makes no sense. It's like I'm afraid of nothing because I don't know what it is, which is what fear of the future is. I'm afraid of what might happen. Fear of the future is fear of the unknown. Does it make sense to be afraid of something you don't know? Well, what's going to happen? I don't know. Then why are you afraid? I don't know. Oh, because I heard, because someone said, because I read, because before it happened in such a way. Our reasons, the reasons we give out. I'm about to cry. This is painful. I'm having a moment. We take ourselves. I have been listening to so many people since Tuesday. I've been listening to people, and not intentionally, but the stuff I've been hearing, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot for me. Discovering this empath thing, it's a lot. It's a lot because I'm not there. I'm not there. At the client's house yesterday, I turned the television down. I did. I just turned it down and put my headphones on, which are pretty darn good at noise canceling. I couldn't do it. I couldn't. It's just too much. It's too much. Too much. What can happen? What's going to happen? What's not going to happen? What didn't happen? What should have happened? Oh my God. When do we wake up and see that only now is real? Only now matters. Only now is the truth. This moment and everything in this moment, it's all fine. It's all well and good. It's all good. It's all good because it's all God anyway. And we're so busy expecting something to be a certain way that we don't allow ourselves to accept what is. There's no saying, yo, God, you made a mistake. The Course says, Lord, let me not be your critic today. I say it this way, shut up. Shut it down. Look at what you're thinking. In fact, I wrote something like that. I wrote, think. Think about what you're thinking. If your thoughts remind you that you are love and that you are peace, continue to enjoy your thoughts. If your thoughts lead to the feelings that don't remind you of what you are, parentheses, changeless spirit, know that you can change your mind. You can choose a new thought and you can think differently. Yeah, that's a Zulma. That's from Zulma. I had to, this was yesterday morning. I was listening to what people were saying early in the morning. Phantoms and shadows. What a shock, I'm reading now, and what a shock and what a surprise it is to us when we realize that we are the ones having the dream. Wait a minute, that reminds me, I'm going to have to read this. That we are the ones having the dream. We are the ones who are creating the phantom, and in a certain sense, running away from the shadow of our own fears. We are creating the phantom, and in a certain sense, running away from the shadow of our own fears. All we're running from, there's a passage in the Bible about someone running and it like a lion or something. They think that they think they're being chased by something, and that's not the case. And I saw something in the chat. Let me find it. Glorian wrote, the I am withinness, the I am within is the answer. Yes. And that Jesus tells us in the Bible, take no thought. That's right. Take no thought for tomorrow. What's the point? I might not even be awake tomorrow morning. I may decide to leave the body. Who knows? Take no thought for tomorrow. It's a waste of time. Especially, you're worrying about this and you're concerned about that. No, 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 no. Think about what you want. Do only that, the Course teaches. Think about what you want. What for, the Course asks. What for? This is what you direct your thinking. If you're thinking, oh my God, I'm worried. This is scary. Oh, if that's where your focus is, and I'm not saying that these thoughts aren't going to come up, because they are. But remember that we can think differently. We can go into the truth. I want to focus on what I want, solely on what I want, and not on what I don't want. And what I want is to remember that I am that love, I am that peace, that the joy resides within me. Glorian wrote, we rest in his love in the quiet mind. We rest in God. We live in God. We move in God. We have our being in God. Not just you and me, but everybody. The woman I was talking about, the young man that Lynn was talking about, lives in God, moves in God, has their being in God. And Lynn from the Bible, woe to you who long for the day of the Lord. What will the day of the Lord be for you? It will be darkness and not light. It will be like a man who flees from a lion only to encounter a bear, or who enters his that's as far as it goes. That's not the passage I was thinking about, though, Lynn, but thank you. No, it's in the Proverbs somewhere about the person who's they're running from nothing. They're running from nothing. Yeah. Running from a shadow. Running from my own shadow. I have created it. I made this thing. So that which I was reading about from Dr. Ernest Holmes in Living the Science of Mind. It's on page 81 of his book, Living the Science of Mind. And it starts this way. Do you ever have a nightmare? I once ran across a cartoon which showed the picture of a man sound asleep and apparently having a terrible dream in which he saw a gigantic figure at the foot of the bed leaning over him as though it were about to seize him. The man was nearly prostrated. The man was nearly prostrated with fear and said to the phantom, "What are you going to do to me?" The phantom replied, "I don't know. What are you going to do with me? I am your dream, you know." We do this. We make up stuff and then we act accordingly. It's like taking the ingredients. You have the ingredients for a meal and different ingredients. And separately, they're just the ingredients that they are. And once you put things, you mix this with that and that with that and that with the other, it turns into something else. It turns into something else and we make it. Now, we might eat it and like it. We might eat it and not like it. And if we like it, we take pride in, yeah, look what I did. Look what all ego work, If I don't like it, I blame it on the ingredients. Oh, I blame it on the ingredients. Oh my gosh, that too much garlic came out when I poured it. No, not that I poured too much garlic. Too much garlic came out of the container. I will finish reading that quote from that Lynn had sent. I see it now. Woe to you who long for the day of the Lord. What will the day of the Lord be for you? It will be darkness and not light. It will be like a man who flees from a lion only to encounter a bear, or who enters his house and rests his hands against the wall only to be bitten by a snake. Wow. Will not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even gloom with no brightness in it? Whew, that's spooky. And Carrie wrote that backwards are the background pics. Because the way we see it one way. We think we're seeing it backwards. And yes, Lynn, she says my dream. Yes, it's our dream. We're choosing fear. We're choosing fear. What for? How's it working for you? What purpose is it serving? About anything. We forget that while we're here, right here in this room, in these little boxes, we're in these little boxes, or we on a microphone, and we're thinking everything is great, everything is wonderful. Oh, like-minded people and all that wonderful stuff, And I absolutely appreciate, and I need this because I put it out. I put it out there. This is what I put out there that I want, that I need. There's a song called "I Need You to Survive," and it says, "I need you. You need me. We are a part of God's body. Stand with me. Agree with me. We are a part of God's body. It is God's will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive." And the Course teaches us we can't be saved alone. I can't be saved alone because I have to realize that I think that there's something to be saved from, and that something is out there. I can't be saved alone. Something out there happens. Something out there is said or done. Something out there occurs. Someone out there expresses themselves in a way that is or isn't comfortable to me. And I go into whatever. We get news. Did you know that news, NEWS, is north, east, west, and south, NEWS? Did you know that? I thought that was a pretty good one. Anyway. Phantoms and shadows. But only the truth is true. Only the truth is true. And there are so many beautiful and wonderful. I'm going to read from Christian D. Larson. He's my guy right now. He's where I am right now. And I can flip a switch in a minute. The joy of having this different way of thinking, this different brain. I love it. I'm reading from his book, The Ideal Made Real. And he writes, the man who finds it easier to forgive than to condemn is on the verge of superior wisdom and higher spiritual power. He has entered the path to real greatness and may rapidly rise in the scale by applying the laws of true human development. Instead of producing weakness and indifference, the act of absolute forgiveness will produce a more powerful character, a more brilliant mind, and a greater soul. I like that. I like that. Absolute forgiveness. Instead of producing weakness and indifference, the act of absolute forgiveness will produce a more powerful character, a more brilliant mind. I like that. And a greater soul. Forgive everybody for everything. No matter what happens. And do not forget to forgive yourself. This is 1909, by the way. 1909. Forgive everybody for everything, no matter what happens, and do not forget to forgive yourself. You will then conclude that forgiveness, absolute forgiveness, is not only the path to complete emancipation, that is, complete freedom, but is also the, quote, gates ajar, end quote, to a better life, a larger life, a richer life, a more beautiful life than you ever knew before. And that's because we'd be open. We'd be removing the blocks, getting this junk out the way. Miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. Just removing the blocks, getting that stuff out the way, getting all this made up stuff out of the way and seeing only the truth, seeing only your God self, seeing only the God self in others. My brother and I, we're one. We're one. How could it be otherwise? How could it be otherwise? And my brother is everyone. Everyone is my brother. And I can rest in that. It reminds me solely that I'm never alone. I mean, it could mean me just writing an email to, not an email, writing a letter or an email. I remember working for the post office when I was working for the Postal Service, and someone had written mail, or was putting stuff in a regular envelope, a big envelope, and it had all kind of writing on the front, and it was addressed to President so and so, and all this stuff. And in that moment that that person was, in the moment that person was writing that, even though they were not experiencing their best, not experiencing the best that they could in themselves, they had that moment of knowing that they weren't alone. I'm talking about in the physical sense, because they had reached outward to write this letter, to write all this stuff to the president. So at the very least, that person knew there was a president, and it was someone to vent to, someone to complain to, someone, to all that. Anyway, that's what came to mind. But the fact is that we're never alone. It's not possible. Ever, ever, ever. In the tangible, there's always someone we can pick up the phone and call. There's always, you go knock on the house next door. There's always someone in the tangible, always. And from the spiritual, from the intangible perspective, because I'm taught that spirit is God in form. All thoughts produce form at some level, the Course teaches, but spirit is God in form. I'd rather spirit, spirit is in form. That it's all God. We keep reading that. It's all God. When it comes down to it, it's all God. We see it the way we want to see it, and that's what it means to me. That we make it that way. That we make the whole thing up. We see it the way we want to see it. We don't see it as it is. We give these things meaning, but in truth, they have no meaning in themselves. But there's always someone available for us. I'll continue reading. A more beautiful life than you ever knew before. You will find that you can instantaneously remove perversion and wrong from the mind by complete and unrestricted forgiveness. Perversion and wrong. We just simply call that, being in our wrong mind, not being in the wrong mind rather than the right mind. We're looking at things from a place of pain and a place of agony and a place of suffering rather than a place of truth, and recognizing again that spirit can't be hurt. Can't you may act like you want a piece of me, but you are a piece of me. You are me and I am you. We are one. We are one, no matter what, no matter who, no matter what, and no matter who. One with the one with everything, one in truth. The air I breathe is the air you may breathe later. I'm talking, that's the tangible. We get proof of this in every way, because we started out in the intangible, in an intangible way. We start out and continue to be an intangible, and we attempt through this tangibleness to demonstrate what is in the intangible, which, the Course says, only minds can join. Only minds can join. Bodies can't join. But we attempt to do that. We hold hands. We smile at each other. We call each other. We're joining. We're joining. We're attempting to join in a physical sense. We're attempting to make what really is the truth of what we are. We're trying to demonstrate that in a tangible way. And there's nothing wrong with that. I appreciate a smile. I appreciate a phone call. I appreciate a handhold. I appreciate lovable when I drift off on here on the sofa. Last night, he was laying behind me, and his head was kind of where, right behind me. His head was right behind my head, just above it. and I can hear this dog breathing, sleeping, breathing. And I had to laugh for a moment. I had to laugh for a moment because I remembered a time when that was a human being behind me, holding me, you know, because this dog had his paws on me. And he's a being not of a human sort, but it gave me a smile. It gave me a reason to remember why he found me. Laura, you're laughing. Okay. I get it. But why he found me. I didn't expect that. But I was given what apparently I perceived. Well, I did say, you all know that I had been um, asking for uh, a partner. I had been asking. I had been asking for a partner. I got one. I just got. I got a man. It's a dog. Got a little male dog. Um, who is who is okay. Look, look. Let me see if I can do this. Let's see. Oh, you want to look up at them now? There you are. Now you see the color of the clothes I have on, right? He is right here, right there. That's him. That's my shirt. He's right there. Aren't you, baby boy? Right there. All right. Anyway, um, now I have to admit, if that had been a gentleman friend, if that had been a gentleman friend, it wouldn't be that way all the time. He would not be following me around. I wouldn't have it. I wouldn't have it. I would not have it. And he wouldn't always be begging for food. Nevertheless, nevertheless, um, I can sit here. Shut up, Lori. Shut up. I I wouldn't. But I'm grateful. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Um, but then I'm never alone. Reach. Wait a minute. Let me pull that up. Reaches and Regis wrote, and a dog never asks, "Why are you doing that? What are you doing that for?" Stop breathing on my neck. Oh no, he was breathing on mine. He was breathing. It's true. He he doesn't ask, but he does look at me like, huh? Because he gets this kind of hyper focus thing. I wish I knew his birthday, but he gets this hyper focus thing. I mean, he could be smelling a leaf. It's fascinating to watch because I don't know if that's just the Jack Russell way, or you know, if he wasn't if he was sheltered, because I noticed this last year as well. But he will sit and smell a leaf, and he'll just stay there, and it makes me remember, smell the roses, take time out, pause. But he does it, and some I'll call him, and he's like, he's I can't get his attention. I can't get his attention. All right, Mickey's back. Hey, Mickey. Um. All right, I'll continue reading. You will find that you can instantaneously remove perversion and wrong from the mind by complete and unrestricted forgiveness. And you can, in the same way, steadily recreate yourself into a new and better being. And that simply means that above all else, I can see things differently. I can take myself to the truth. I can remember that I am love. I can remember that I am joy. I can remember that I am peace. I can remember that I am happiness. And I can extend that. And I can extend that. And I can extend that no matter what's going on. Particularly, what did I read earlier? You will need your learning most when things are uncomfortable. That's when you need your learning most when times are difficult. That is the time you will need your learning most in situations that appear to be upsetting rather than in those that already seem to be calm and quiet. So those things that we're worrying about, those things that we're concerned about, you will need your learning most in those situations. That's the time to remember. Dr. Ernest Holmes says that truth known is demonstrated. And to desert the truth in the hour of need is to show that you really don't know the truth. It's not the time to worry and panic and go into all that. No, 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 no. That's the time to remember, my God, my God, my God, that I am one with the Father, that the Father is one with me, that I and the Father are one, that I live in it, move in it, have my being in it, that everything lives in it, moves in it, has its being in it. I can't say that enough. I live in it. I live in God. I move in God. I have my being in God. I am in the Father. The Father is in me. One with the one with the one. That's the time when things are seem to be the worst. That's the time that you need your learning most. The purpose of your learning is to enable you to bring the quiet with you. The purpose of your learning. This is, by the way, if anybody wants to go back, reference this, it's in review 1, right after lesson 50 in the course. The purpose of your learning is to enable the purpose. Purpose is meaning. The course reminds us. Purpose is meaning. The purpose of your learning is to enable you to bring the quiet with you and to heal distress and turmoil. These things we're worrying about, these things we're afraid of, these things that we are so concerned about. That's the nice word. We're going to use it though. Bring the quiet with you. Heal the distress and the turmoil. Peace is part of you. I'll continue reading from Christian Larson. Forgive. Yes, we just bring the quiet with you. Yes, bring it with you. It's already there. Just like the course doesn't attempt to define love, to tell us, or tell us to find our love. The same way the Bible doesn't tell you to find your peace. The Bible says hold your peace. It doesn't say find it and hold it. It's saying that it's already there. That's it, the way it's written. It's written that it's already there. The peace is already there. Peace is part of you, is what the course teaches. You will yet learn that peace is part of you and requires only that you be there to embrace any situation in which you are. Embrace the situation. Embrace the situation. That thing that's frightening you right now, that thing that you're worrying about right now. Embrace the situation. Fill it with peace. Fill it with love. Fill it with the truth. Fill it with what you trust, to rely upon spirit totally. Fill it with that. Fill every fear with trust. Fill every worry with trust. Fill every concern with trust. God is all in all. Thus saith the course. Oh, I hope that didn't. I'm on the phone. I got a phone call. Am I still here? Yeah, I'm still here. Okay. God is all in all. The course, it's written that way. I believe it. It's what gives me peace. It's in the air I breathe. God is in the food I eat. God is in the clothes I wear. God is in the home I live in. God is in the streets I walk on. God is in my doggy. God is in everyone and everything. God is in the system everywhere. The word God is just a placeholder. God is omnipresent, everywhere present, always, 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 in the flower, in the cancer, in the God is in everything. God is. God simply is. There is no place where God is not. As Christian Larson says, as Joel Goldsmith says, there is no such thing as God and it's all God. And that's the purpose of your learning, is to enable you to bring the quiet with you. It's not just to have people to hang out with on Pal Talk. It's not just a place to hang out on Zoom. It's not just a place to come listen to, these wonderful teachers. That's not what it's for. The purpose of your learning is to bring the peace, is to enable you to bring the quiet with you, to heal distress and turmoil. The purpose of your learning is to heal distress and turmoil. And Glorian followed up on what Regis wrote. Let's see. Yes, Regis wrote that. Oh, let me go back some. Hold up. Yes, bring the quiet with you, Regis wrote. Be in spirit. Glorian followed up with, rely not on man, whose breath is in his nostrils. Joel Goldsmith. That's why trust in the Lord with all your heart. Trust in God with all your heart. It doesn't say trust man. It doesn't say that. Love your neighbor. I'm not going to say that doesn't mean trust your neighbor. I'm not going to say that. It's written, trust in the Lord with all your heart. All is all. And don't lean on your own understanding. Don't think you know, because you don't. You don't. We don't know what anything is for. We don't. So we can't go on what happened yesterday or the day before or last week or last year and think that we know, because we read in the paper that, or we read in a medical journal that and therefore not necessarily. But even if that is the case, bring the quiet with you. Embrace, accept. Yes, Regis. Embrace equals acceptance. Yes. Rely on spirit, not person, place, or condition. I don't know what that means. Gloria, leave your nets. I don't know what that means.
That's Joe's book, Leave Your Nets.
Oh, that's the name of the book, Leave Your
And
Nets.
that's a quote that comes from it. Rely on spirit, not person, place, or condition.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that book. I'll have to look that one up. Thank you.
That's
And
one is a big one. You'll like it.
I'm sure. Listen, my collection is growing, and I'm reading. I'm not. Sometimes I do. I just randomly flip. What I love about these teachers is that I don't always have to read the last chapter to find out what the next chapter is. Sometimes I do. I remember when the course became alive for me. That was, and I've mentioned it numerous times, chapter 13, section 4, a section called The Function of Time, starting at paragraph 4. And I went into paragraph 6 about the shadowy figures from the past. I just talked about that. But then there's a sentence about, would you recognize a holy encounter, or a holy instant or something like that, holy something with your brother. I had no idea what that meant. So I stopped right there. I had gotten what I needed. I had gotten what I was given what I needed to begin the forgiveness process, to begin to release, to let go. I got it right there. So I had to go back to, and that's why that day, December 7th, 1992, I wrote that on that page in the first edition of the course, and then went to the beginning of the course and wrote December 7th, 1992. I still have that first edition. We can ask what for. We can say it's just another piece of something. It has meaning to me, so I hold on to it. Anyway, and Gloria continues that recognizing the only acceptance I need is from myself. Speak within. My worth is established by God. Yes, and the Course tells us exactly that. Thank you. That we are not, our worth is not established by what we think and what somebody says and none of that. None of that. by what condition we have or what condition we don't have, and how much financial wealth we have. My worth is not established by that. My worth is not established by that. My worth is established only by God. Only by God. Only by God. And how wonderful that is. I don't have to do anything. I need do nothing. I need do nothing. How wonderful that is. How wonderful that is. I'm reminded that the only decision I have to make is heaven. Heaven's the decision I must make. The power of decision is my own, and on my decision, all salvation rests. Um, I'm not going to say. I happened to look at something that I had pulled up, and there it was. There it was. Okay, let me see if I can finish this little piece right here, or did I? Forgive the imperfect, and with heart and soul desire constantly the realization of the perfect. The imperfect will thus pass away, and the more perfect will be realized in a greater and greater abundance, which means that if I'm willing to think differently, if I want to see this differently, and I want to see this differently, and above all else, I want to see this differently, that I will learn I will learn of the purification, because miracles are my right, but purification is necessary first. And as I choose to see it differently, I can gain that. Glory in your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Zulma. You know, after all these years, no matter what the opportunity seems to be, I always go back to the lesson, I am oneself united with my Creator. In that, the acceptance of that lesson, we're accepting our identity, and in our identity, there is no problem. So there's one problem, one solution, that I don't remember who I am. So, you know, just in contemplation, that recognition and acceptance of that I am, we find our salvation is found in that holy instant where we quiet the mind and we experience ourselves as that Spirit of God. Then the projection cease to be. And that is the holy instant is the portal to the kingdom, to the Christ consciousness, because the kingdom is the Christ consciousness, is the acceptance of that as what I am, and refusing any form of malpractice, refusing to recognize the error. Now, of course, we all do wander into temptation, but the brotherhood of Christ really comes in that recognition that there is no other than I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And that was lesson 95. I am oneself united with my Creator. And that starts by saying this idea accurately describes you as God created you. You are one within yourself and one with Him. Yours is the unity of all creation. Your perfect unity makes change in you impossible. You do not, impossible. You are one within yourself and one with Him. So this whole thing, we keep thinking, oh, God help me. We're looking out. It's from within. It's from within. I am that. Whew. You know how much power is in that? I am that. You are that. It's not out there somewhere. I mean, it's everywhere. But first and foremost, it's right here. That's why self-forgiveness is necessary. Because if I'm thinking that, oh, something is wrong with me, and I'm not this, and this happened to me, and I can't this, that, and the other, I'm not giving myself an opportunity to live the best, to live. Sammy Davis Jr. in his song, I want to live, not merely survive. And I won't give up this dream of life that keeps me alive. I've got to be me. What else can I be but who I am? This is oh, the God, my God self. It's really all there is. There's nothing outside of me. It's my projection, the way I'm seeing it. And I'm grateful today for how I'm seeing it. I'm grateful today that Carrie, Regis, Karen, Gloria, Dove, Lori, Lynn, Mickey are here. That I see these names. That I hear these people. I love this. I love this. I'm grateful for the way I choose to see. I'm grateful for the decisions that I have made, that I am making moment by moment, to be in peace no matter what, to bring the quiet with me as loudly as I proclaim it. I am grateful. I am grateful because as Glorian, I don't know what I'm saying. I knew someone named Glorian. That's why that's happening. As Glorian, I wonder, that's the second time I've done that today. So they need to find out how she's doing. But anyway, as Glorian has reminded us, I am one self united with my creator. I'm not all the problem. I'm not all the things I thought I was, and I'm not this, and I'm not that, and I'm not the other. No, 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 no. Yes, I am. I am good and great and wonderful. I am perfect. I am whole. I am complete. I am the Holy Son of God. I am life. I am love. I am change this reality. I am spirit. I am whole. I am grateful to be able to say all this. I didn't think I was going to make it to 11 o'clock. And here it is, 3 minutes of. I started out saying, I don't know if I'm going to. I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful. Yes, Karen, and I read most of that, Karen, from review 1, to bring the quiet with you. Yes, it's yes indeed, from review 1. That's it. That's it. That's it. And Glorian wrote, thank you, Glorian. She says, we all join in the one mind of Christ. That is why we come together. I love you too, and thank you too. Yes, indeed. This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. It's about remembering to remember. It's about and enjoying the truth of what we are. I am going to quickly read. I'm going to try to read it quickly. Where's it? Okay. All right. I'm not sure which of Christian Larson's books this is. He says the power of love. Oh, it's in I think it is in the ideal. I don't know. The power of love is the greatest power in the world, but it can cause persons or nations to fall to the lowest state, as well as rise to the highest state. Every fall in the history of the race has been caused largely by the misdirection of love, while every step in advance has been prompted largely by the power of love turned upon better things. To misdirect love is to love that which is beneath our present stage in advancement. That is to not recognize the God self. It is turning the forces of life backward, and retrogression must inevitably follow. In the average person, love is directed almost exclusively upon the personal side of life. In consequence, the love nature becomes so personal, so limited, and so superficial that materialism follows. In many other minds, it is mere appearances that attract the power of admiration, and the finer things in mind, soul, and character are wholly, that is completely ignored. The result is that the finer qualities of such people gradually disappear, and grossness, both in thought and in appearance, naturally follow. But we must not conclude in this connection that it is wrong to admire the beautiful wherever it may seem in the external world. We should love the beautiful everywhere, no matter where it may be found. We should admire the richness of life, both in the external and in the internal. And by living a complete life, we shall enjoy more and more of the richness and the beautiful in life, in the within as well as in the without. But the power of love must direct the greater part of its attention upon that which is rich and beautiful in mind and soul. It is that which is finer than the finest of external things that must be loved if man is to grow into the likeness. I'm sorry, a phone call just came in again. Into the likeness of the great, the superior, and the ideal, because man is as he thinks. and he thinks the most of what he loves the best. When an individual begins to love the finer qualities in life, oh, you know what? I'm going to stop right there. It is 11 o'clock. It's one paragraph. Karen, I'll take a whole minute. When any individual begins to love the finer qualities in life and gives all the power of mind and soul to that love, they have taken the first step in the changing of their destiny. They are laying the foundation for a great and a better future. And if they continue as they have begun, they will positively reach the loftiest goal that they may have in view. There are many laws to apply in the beginning of a great life, but the law that lies at the foundation of them all is the law of love. It is love that determines what we are to think, what we are to work for, where we are to go, and what we are to accomplish. Therefore, among all great essentials, the principal one is to know how to love. To apply this essential for all practical purposes, the secret is to love the great, the beautiful, and the ideal in everybody and in everything, and to love with such a strong, passionate love that its ascending power becomes irresistible. With no comment. That was from Christian D. Larson. I don't remember which book. I'll find out. But with that, thank you, everyone. Thank you, family, for being here. I so love you. You know that. Know that. You know that. And Lynn, with that, I'm turning over the mic. Hey, Brooklyn.
Yeah, Brooklyn's in here. Wow. Hi. Yeah, thank you so much, Zoma. What a powerful teaching. I am just so grateful for this. And I can feel the shift. It seems like everyone is just shifting in a really, really radical way right now. So I'm just grateful for all of it. Grateful